Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Just to let you know, we'll be getting underway with the webinar in just a couple of minutes' time. So 2 more minutes or so, and then we'll be getting underway. Thanks a lot. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Just as a reminder, about a minute or so, we'll be getting underway with the webinar. So hopefully you can hear me okay. Also, hopefully you can see my screen. If you do have any questions, there is a questions box which I can keep an eye on, as well as any of my colleagues as well. So if you do have any problems, technical issues, or any general questions, please do let us know. But about a minute and we'll get underway. So, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Firstly, thank you for joining the webinar today. As you can tell by the title, today we're going to be talking about extending Microsoft Project Online with Edison 365 projects. My name is Chris Hazlitt. I work for a company called CPS. And just before we start, just a few kind of things to point out. We will be recording the webinar today, so we will be able to send you out a recording in the future if you do require, if you do miss anything like that. Also, if you do have any questions, there is a questions box available in kind of the chat area, and I'll try and answer as many of those as possible at the end of the session as well. Due to a run for about half an hour today, so firstly a few slides and then a bit of a demonstration, but hopefully what we can give you today is a good flavour of what Edison 365 projects is and how it might benefit your organisation. So firstly, a bit about CPS, and then an introduction to Project Online to make sure everyone is on kind of the same page around what Microsoft Project Online is, some information around Edison 365, a fairly quick demonstration around the Edison 365 features, and then a few just questions and things that we do pose to our clients typically when we're talking around adopting Project Online, and with some time at the end for some questions. So firstly, as I mentioned, just a little bit about CPS. So we started as an organisation back in 1995. Back then, we were using technology to implement change. So it was things such as, I suppose, technology such as Lotus Notes and the like that we were working with clients with, but also kind of as a core kind of project management consultancy. As the kind of years rolled by, as kind of the early 2000s sort of mark, as Microsoft really had a kind of an enterprise project management offering, we became a Microsoft house. And as you can see in the bottom right hand corner, we've got sort of 4 different Microsoft logos down there, and we are now a project SharePoint, Office 365 and Dynamics 365 partner of Microsoft. As you can see, we've got lots of gold competencies on the left hand side down the bottom. That is kind of the way that Microsoft recognises its partners in terms of number of kind of qualified members of staff within that partner, in terms of kind of successful implementations that we've had with our clients, as well as kind of the added value features that we provide to their kind of ecosystem, additional products, as well as kind of features and things like that that we provide back to the community. We have 60 plus employees here at CPS. We're based in Marlow in the UK, just outside of London. We have lots and lots of successful engagements, and we're very, very proud to say that we're currently the global award-winning Microsoft Gold partner for PPM. What that really is that we are the #1 partner in the world for PPM solutions, for Project Online solutions and the like. And some of the main reasons that we won that, as I said earlier on, is due to kind of really successful engagements with clients, some really well qualified and really well experienced consultants that we have on site here at CPS, but also some of the added value features that we provide, and one of those is Edison 365, which is obviously what we are going to be talking about today. Some of our clients on screen at the moment, I've tried to use a bit of a cross section here in terms of some of the different kind of verticals that we work in. As you can see on screen, kind of small, medium, large, public or private sector. Typically, you name it, we've worked with a client similar to yourselves, or with a similar sort of requirement. We have lots of case studies and published case studies available. So if you go to our website, which is www.cps.co.uk, or alternatively www.edison365.com, there's lots of published case studies on there. Alternatively, let me know and see if we can put you in touch with the client if you're interested to hear more about it. So moving on from CPS and kind of who we are and a bit of background there, I thought it'd be sensible just to put a bit of background on kind of what Microsoft Project Online is, and making sure everyone's on the same page here. Most people know what Microsoft Project is. They've either used it or have been kind of around it in the past. Obviously, it's your desktop application, which is used typically for project management. Personally, the name Project Online, I think, can confuse people sometimes, because when people hear the words Microsoft Project Online, they think that it is just Microsoft Project, as you see it on the left-hand side there, in the cloud. Absolutely, the features are still there and still available to you. But Project Online actually is a full PPM suite. So it's your project management capabilities, but also it's your resource management and your portfolio management and your collaboration capabilities based on Office 365, which allows us to get all of our information, such as projects and risks and issues and documents and anything around a project itself, in one single area, and then roll that data up to whatever level it might need to be and provide reports and insights on that data. So as I said, the word Microsoft Project Online can be confusing to a lot of people, but just to make sure everyone is clear on that, it is a full PPM solution delivered on Office 365 for project teams, from everyone from a kind of stakeholder, team member, project manager, resource manager, and above from there as well. When we talk about Project Online, we can quite often break it down into kind of 4 sections. So you've got kind of portfolio management, schedule management, resource management, and kind of collaboration. And on the next slide, we'll kind of break those out in kind of a bit more detail. But just to set the scene in terms of a kind of a technical solution, as I mentioned, Project Online is an additional capability of Office 365. So if you do have an Office 365 estate in-house currently at your organization, Project Online is just a separate suite of licenses that you can purchase, and it gives you the additional capability within that Office 365 environment. So it can link to things such as email and Skype and Teams and Yammer and all the different capabilities that you may be using. If you're not using Office 365 currently, fear not. You still can buy just the Project Online licenses on their own, essentially spin up an Office 365 tenant just for the Project Online capabilities. We do have clients that do that, and that will give you all the kind of the wonderful things that I'm going to show you in a little while. But as I said, if you are an Office 365 house, it really does fit well into your current ecosystem. Single sign-on, familiarity for end users and things like that is some of the key wins that we see back from our clients. And because it's an online solution, obviously there's the bonus of having redundant data centers. You get the uptime guarantees from Microsoft being 99.9%, and obviously it's fully compliant and regulatory to all of the different kind of certifications that it requires to be. So breaking down those 4 areas just in a bit more detail, as I mentioned a second ago, from a portfolio management perspective, when working with projects online, I suppose you've got lots of different options in terms of the way that you work. When you first purchase projects online, it can be a bit of a blank canvas, which is fantastic because you can take it in whatever way that you want to take it. But if we can try and break it down into some fairly simple headers, it might give you an indication of what you can then kind of deliver with projects online. So for a portfolio management perspective, you could maybe look at demand management, looking at what's coming up in the pipe, looking at currently what the current live portfolio is looking like, what can and can't we do based on certain scenarios. Looking at a selection and strategy sort of piece where we say what's our kind of overall strategy in terms of delivering projects and programs and portfolios, and what can and can't we deliver, what's our current resource utilization, and do we need to make some kind of key hiring or kind of firing sort of decisions based on that as well. And then from a portfolio level reporting piece, it's having that information at your fingertips. So if you do need to provide a dashboard or a report to your kind of senior management, it's being able to provide that in a click of a button without having to do that kind of chasing around the office and doing kind of those regular activities. From a project management perspective, obviously you can still manage your project schedules, but on top of that, you have your other kind of project controls that you might look to capture within the same system. And what I mean by that is things like issues and risks and benefits and requests for change and documentation and the like. Because we capture all that in the same sort of place, it means that when it comes to kind of standardizing our approach, it becomes a lot easier, but also when it comes to rolling that data up to project, program, and portfolio level, it becomes a very, very easy process for us to do that as well. And then from a reporting point of view, project managers quite typically get asked to produce highlight reports or status reports or similar sort of reports as that. If we can provide end users that capability, again, it saves a lot of time, effort, but also from a business point of view, it allows you to get a standardized approach to kind of getting those reports in hand from a regular occurrence. From a resource management point of view, you could maybe look at things such as capacity planning, understanding pinch points, understanding who's busy, who isn't, understanding maybe where we could look to bring in some additional resources, maybe look to where we can share skill sets maybe. There's lots of different capabilities here within the resource management kind of area. And obviously, if it is something of interest to you, that's probably an area we could discuss in much more detail. You can manage timesheets if you want to, so capturing actuals and the like, and also you've got a resource engagements model in there where you can kind of request resources and have a process so that it's not a free-for-all. It's a managed approach to assigning and managing requests for people's time. And then from a collaboration point of view, this is really where I suppose it lies heavily on Office 365 kind of capabilities. So when you put a project into the system, you get what's known as a project site. That's where we can collaborate on that particular project. So as I said, risks and issues and documents and the like. But we also get spaces where we can collaborate. We can work on things together. We can use Yammer and Teams and different kind of Office 365 capabilities if you would like as well. And also things such as Planner and other Microsoft capabilities, we can look to bring all the information to one single place as well. So in the collaboration space, there's lots of different opportunities there to be able to work in a way which becomes a lot more in line with hopefully your IT strategy moving forwards. So just a quick overview of what Microsoft Project Online is, just so you, as I mentioned, everyone is aware of what we're kind of basing the solution on today. Project Online gives you that single source of truth, that single source of information of all your project data in one single place. That's project, program, portfolio, and resource data in that particular area. Collaboration aspects via SharePoint and Office 365 are all there as part of the solution. And the key one there is a single solution for all users. So it's not just designed at PMs, it's not just designed at program managers and portfolio managers. It's designed to give something back to everyone, whether you're a team member, whether you're a project manager, whether you're your portfolio owner, as an example. It's designed to give you that information back in hand in a way that you can then digest and kind of go and do something with it as well. Any more information on the general Office 365 and Project Online stack, do let me know. As I mentioned, as a partner, we are an Office 365 project, SharePoint and Dynamics partner. So if there's any areas of there you would like to speak more about, please do let us know. But I thought it was important to give a bit of background around Project. Now what we actually are going to move on to is the Edison 365 part, which I imagine is kind of what maybe enticed you to come along to the webinar today. Edison 365 is a solution which is authored and owned by CPS, and it's designed to empower organizations to create, manage, and deliver change. So it's made up of a few parts, a few component parts, a few component kind of products, I suppose, but all of the solutions are built on Office 365. All of the solutions are looking to utilize your kind of investment that you may have already made within Office 365 or Project Online, and they are seen as kind of best-in-class solutions, award-winning solutions, which are designed to get you up and running fairly quickly with various different aspects. To give you an indication of what the solutions currently look like, we've got an ideas solution, so Edison 365 Ideas, which is managing innovation, ideation, and managing it through the process to actually potentially go to award and deliver one of those ideas and moving forwards, built on Office 365. We've got an Edison 365 business case solution, which is designed to maybe take those ideas and build on that and look to build a business case, get approvals and get all of the relevant people in the business involved in one single easy to use interface. And then finally, we've got Edison 365 Projects, which is what we're here to talk about today, which is designed using Project Online to manage your portfolio, deliver programs and projects, but also give you lots of added value features as part of the Edison 365 suite to make it a lot easier, simpler, but also more engaging process as well. As I mentioned, we are mainly talking about Edison 365 projects today, but I thought again it would be worthwhile showing you this kind of screen to give you an indication of maybe how one product flows into the others. If you would like more information on Edison 365 Ideas and Edison 365 Business Case, please do let us know. We can spend lots of time with you kind of talking through those different options. But as you can see from the Edison 365 projects area down here, from a project solution, it's designed to essentially assign resources. You can model scenarios using the solution. You can then collaborate and share on those situations, those scenarios and those projects to then maybe capture progress and then provide insights back to the business. But these are some of the things I'll show you in the demo in just a short while. All of our Edison 365 products are kind of designed based on these kind of 6 key points. All of them are designed to be easy to use. So we've enhanced the user interface. We've made it a lot easier to kind of get around the solutions, made it a very simple process so that the training requirement is lessened, but also it becomes a much easier and nicer interface for people to pick up and start using. The Edison 365 solutions are essentially built as apps, so they can be up and running and installed on your tenant in minutes, in no time whatsoever. And because they are in the format of apps via the App Store, they are always up to date. So we are keeping them in line with the Microsoft product roadmap. We are making sure that all our reports are always working at all given times, which quite a lot of our customers find a lot of kind of comfort in, because if maybe they were to produce their own reports and then Microsoft were to change something in the back end, hopefully that doesn't happen, but if it was to, they would then be liable to making sure that those reports are working. If you're using Edison 365 and using our reporting suite, obviously that is our responsibility, and we'll make sure that they are always working so that you don't have any interruption in service. The apps are all responsive design, so they look great on mobiles and iPads and tablets and stuff like that as well. And all the data is obviously fully secure because it's based on your Office 365 tenancy. It's all in your hands, basically, complying to all of the Microsoft Office 365 compliance. From an Edison 365 projects point of view, we look to extend and transform Project Online. So we've done that by, as I said, creating a number of apps, which I'll show in the next few pages. One of the most striking features for a lot of people is the look and feel. And on the right-hand side of the screen, hopefully you can see kind of an enhanced interface. This is your way into the solution. It brings it, I suppose, Project Online into the modern way, the modern look and feel, and it becomes a lot easier for people to pick it up and start using it and collaborating on projects as well. But we'll touch on that in just a short while. As I mentioned, we do have an app catalog that we provide as part of Edison 365 projects. That includes things such as reports and added value features. That catalog is continually growing, and we continually look to provide additional capabilities to clients. A lot of those capabilities do come from client requests as well quite often. So if you did become an Edison 365 projects client, if you did have a great idea for an app, what quite often happens is that we then make that into an app and then deliver it to all of our end users of the solution. Obviously, if you do have Edison 365 ideas or business case, it fits very, very well into that as well, as there's an obvious flow between ideas, business case, and projects. But just make it clear, you don't need to take all of the products. They are sold as separate products, but as I said, they do fit very, very well with each other. As I mentioned, just a quick run through some of the Edison 365 apps. The smaller kind of green squares you can see at the bottom of the screen at the moment, they are the individual apps that we kind of provide as part of Edison 365 projects. There's things in there such as the reporting app, which provides you out of the box things such as a highlight report and a risk and issue report and a portfolio status report. Things I typically call kind of your day-to-day, week-to-week kind of more static reports, but rather than having to go and create your reports every single time, every single week, because you've been managing your information in one single system, you click a button and your highlight report or your status report is kind of good to go. Some of the other features that we might have in there, we've got things such as a swim lane chart, which gives you kind of a bit of more of a visual approach to seeing what's kind of happening in your portfolio, in your implementation of Project Online at the moment. We have things such as a risk matrix, kind of ways of looking at resources, but we also have some added value features in there which are kind of over and above some of the capabilities of Project Online out of the box. There are things such as the Agile app, which allow us to manage projects in an agile and a waterfall way and kind of view that information in one single place and then obviously report on it. And another really successful one has been the Financial Manager app as well, which allows us to look over and above just cost information. We can look at budget information, return on investment, benefits and the like, all in one single place, and then maybe potentially provide a feed to your financial system and vice versa. The reason that's been so popular, it's meant that the information, the figures, the numbers that you've had in your reports being generated by Edison 365 are then as true to life as possible, and also you can have that connection between your project teams and your financial teams without having to kind of cross systems and stuff like that as well. So that's my slides just for now. What I'm going to spend now is just kind of 5 minutes or so on a quick demonstration of the solution, and then come back to a few more slides regarding adoption. So as you can see on my screen now, I've just switched across to my Edison 365 demo environment. So this would typically be your point of entry for most users when using Edison 365. At the top here, we've got our logos and banner, but again, you can maybe change the color schemes and maybe even the name and put your logo at the top here to make it feel much more familiar to end users. I'm logged in as myself. I'm a super user of the system, so what I can do is see and do everything. But to make it clear, just like within Project Online, you can control who sees what and when, so that people maybe only see stuff which is relevant to them, or stuff that they can actually see based on security and permissions and so on. Scrolling through the front page here, what we have is a bit of a scrolling news bar. So maybe as an admin or as a senior user of the system, you can promote some key stories, some key maybe project wins or success stories, case studies and things like that. On the right hand side, we have things such as stats, so showing you quickly number of live projects, number of stuff that's currently ending in the next 30 days, and number of or percentage of projects currently on schedule. And we have the capability to add a project from this front page as well. Scrolling down a little bit further, what we start to see is some cards. These cards give us snippets of information telling you how things are currently running. The three we've got up here at the first are programs. So you can see that the IT change program in this demo example is currently active. It's currently running late, being owned by Paul Mather. A bit of an overview of what's kind of going on, as well as a kind of a timeline view taken from the project plan of where we are currently in that in that program plan, where we are in that program. Scrolling down a little bit further, what we might have is all of our other projects, which we can start sorting via maybe name, progress, start, end date. So each one of these has a project plan in the back end. It has maybe all the different things that you've captured as part of the kind of the process of managing projects. But if we click on one of these as an example, if we click on acquisition target analysis, what this takes me through to is kind of a mini homepage. So, for example, what we've got here is an overview of the project. On the right-hand side, we can see that Ivan is currently owning it. We can see quickly which program that is related to, as well as some more key stat information down here as well, such as number of days since last updated or number of tasks overdue, as you can see here, quite a lot, as well as some overall indicators of performance, for example. If you scroll across to the middle, what we have here is actually a Yammer feed. So we can actually go and discuss this project and have an area to collaborate and discuss and kind of understand why things are happening like they are. And a feature I really like is the history tab, because what you can do here is pull out some key milestones and key information and identify where they are, and maybe give them a quick update of kind of what's currently going on in these key milestones. These could be milestones, it could be gates, they could be anything really here, but without going to the project plan, I can quickly see kind of what's going on and how this project is currently performing. On the right hand side, what we have is all our kind of quick links to various areas of the solution. What a lot of people say when it comes to Edison 365 is that it really enhances the way that you can get around the solution quickly. And what they mean by that is if, for example, you wanted to add a risk to this particular project, without using Edison 365 projects, it might be a few clicks. In various places to get around the site. Here, what I do is click the button, it opens it up straight away. I can add a risk, and then I'm kind of done in that kind of aspect. So it becomes a lot cleaner, a lot easier to get around the site, and hopefully again a lot nicer process for the end users to use. Clicking on a few of the features here, on the Discover area, what we have is a way of seeing all the information in the system that I'm allowed to see as a user. So I can maybe sort projects and programs via owner. I can maybe just see certain programs. So if I just see program 2020 and what maybe projects are involved in that, I might want to see different projects sorted by plan status or RAG status as an example. Again, it's just a way of sorting that information and quickly viewing kind of what's going on in our program, in our projects and programs. We can also see things such as issues and risks and requests for change in different areas in here as well. So it's lots of information to do with what you want to see as an end user. From a personal point of view, you might see the projects you're currently owning or project manager of. So this one, for example, Crazy Electronics is a project that I'm currently project manager of. Other projects might be things that you're involved with, a stakeholder in, might be a team member as part of a project team. Again, it's down to you in terms of what business logic you've put behind this, but it gives me a quick way of seeing maybe what's interesting to me, as well as some key stats around what I'm up to, and apparently again not a lot, but what it does show me is number of issues and risks that have been assigned to me and number of projects and stuff like that I should be keeping an eye on there as well. From a reporting point of view, this really is where Edison 365 projects does come into its own. It comes with a suite of reports, and unfortunately in the timescale we've got today, we won't be able to run through all of them, but it comes with a suite of reports that provide you out-of-the-box capabilities to provide things such as highlight reports and risk matrices and milestone Gantt charts and so on. And I'll give you a quick run through those in just a second. But that can be accessed here as well. And as an example, we might see one here such as a highlight report. So one I've just pulled up here is for the project we're just looking at. What it gives me is in one single place, some high-level descriptions, some high-level information around key milestones, maybe a Gantt chart view, as well as any issues and risks. What you have to remember here, this is live, so as long as you press save and publish within your project plan area, information that's being shown here is live. So it means that people can get access to that as and when they want to, and you can provide up-to-date reports as and when it's required from the business. We might also have things such as swim lane charts, as I mentioned earlier on, showing you kind of key projects, kind of how they're performing. So if they're on schedule, if they're slipping or they've slipped, what maybe gate they're currently in. So you can quickly see a very very kind of colourful and easy to understand way where projects currently are. You might have some key milestones and from various different projects, and we've got a milestone Gantt chart which kind of pulls all of those key milestones and baseline information into one single place and displays it very easily and very quickly, and in a way that's much more easy to digest. And obviously there's no manual effort of having to pull that data together from different plans. And as I said, there's some other reports such as, I don't know, for example, a risk matrix, which gives you a way of rolling up that data of all of your risks in your system and plotting it easily on a risk matrix format. So I can quickly see in that category that there's 3 risks currently, 2 to the acquisition target analysis project and 1 to the Exchange Online migration project. I could go and speak to the owners via Skype if I wanted to here. I can click on the risk itself, or I can view more information here if I want to as well. So again, you can maybe start concentrating on the areas which are most important to you rather than just sifting through all information in any one go. Finally, from an Edison 365 point of view, we've got a capability called the Resource Modeler, which allows us to essentially scenario model situations when it comes to resources in this case, to maybe understand what we can and can't do based on certain different scenarios. So I'm just going to zoom in so you can see a little bit of detail on the numbers here. But I've previously loaded up the scenario. I've chosen 8 or 9 projects, and below what it shows me is the impact on my resource kind of picture. So it shows me currently that if it's in red, there's a bit of a problem. Green, that means there's availability, and kind of the grey colour means we're about right. If I click on the sales team people, what it shows me is the projects that those people are currently working on. I might actually then go into a bit more detail and say, actually, I need to look at Teo, because Teo's currently over allocated on projects. What projects is he working on? And we can kind of see the information up there. Very useful, yes. But because this is a scenario modeler, what we can start doing is then modeling this data and saying, okay, what if we move this project out? Or what if we stop this project? Or what if we did X, Y, and Z? And what it allows us to do, as you can see on my screen, as I start to move these bars across, the numbers down below start to change. So I might say in this instance, okay, if we move it out by a few weeks, Teo can actually do it if he is a critical resource to this particular project. Or could we look to move some other projects around? Or in the details area, could we look to bring some more people in? Or can I compare and contrast with someone else's scenario as well? The key thing to point out, no data is changing in the back end here. It's just a way of modeling your data, but it's just a really nice and easy to use way to be able to move things in and out. Scenario model based on what you know as an individual or as a group, and start having some really good conversation around these particular areas as well. Okay, as you probably imagine, half an hour isn't a lot of time to go through a lot of the detail that I could go through in a demonstration. So as I mentioned earlier on, please do let me know if you would like a further demonstration or have any questions around it as well. But just a few key things to understand when deploying Project Online and Edison 365 and so on. There's a kind of classic quote: "If you build it, they will come." I don't think that's the case in this situation, or when it comes to kind of IT solutions, because it has to be made up of a few different component parts. Obviously, today we've talked about the solution. It's sometimes often the easier bit to design, develop, and deliver it and install that part. But what we do have to remember is the people as well. So us as an organization, when we support our clients, we're ensuring they are embracing, adopting, and hopefully using the solution, because that's when you start to get the outcomes and the kind of success points and the results that you're probably looking for at the moment, or looking for the kind of a PPM solution to help out with. So how we work with that, obviously we can assist organizations in many different ways. We've talked a lot today about the PPM solution, and we can obviously provide cost information, and we can provide kind of a plan of what that part might look like. Where we also help out organizations is around user adoption. So yes, that's training, and yes, that's kind of embedding that change, but also it's that continued support. So we can either provide that support, or we can kind of teach our clients how to kind of to manage that and a successful approach to that. Service management is also particularly key, so understanding roles and ownership around the solution, who's going to provide support, who's going to provide the governance, how's that going to be owned and managed within the business, also particularly critical and key. And then from a service evolution point, so keeping it moving forwards, keeping that cadence of continually striving to improve, having an agreed roadmap. We always kind of agree a roadmap with our clients to make sure that we know where we're going with them, but also things like managing releases and onboarding change and onboarding new users, different areas of the business is particularly key, and it makes up kind of the 4 pillars of a successful implementation of Project Online and obviously Edison 365 projects. So next steps then, as I said, ask questions. It's a fairly quick session today, designed to give you a bit of an insight into what Edison 365 is. More than happy to send you the recording after the session. Also very, very happy to arrange a demonstration, whether it's via Skype or face-to-face. Do let us know. Typically when we do run sessions like that, it might be an hour and a half sort of thing. So you can probably tell how much kind of content we can kind of go through in that time. What I would say is please do visit our website. So there's lots of information on CPS at cps.co.uk, as well as edison365.com. Yeah, there's lots of information, lots of case studies, and lots of kind of data sheets and information from there as well. But what I would say is thank you, obviously, for joining today. My details are on screen at the moment. So once again, my name is Chris Aslett. Feel free to email me or get in touch with the team at edison365.com. As I mentioned, I'll be now on the line for the next few minutes answering any questions. If not, thank you very much for listening, and I hope to speak to you soon.